welcome or welcome back to my channel Read with Kim, and I'm really happy because I finally finished The Pillars of the Earth from Ken Follet. This book is really chunky, and I knew it because all the books from Ken Follett are like this, like really chunky. So I knew that I was gonna get into something pretty intense, but I never imagined that it was gonna be that intense. And I cannot wait to talk about this book and tell you if it's worth the hype, if it's not, if you're gonna like it, if not, what is my rating, because this book is extremely popular. So let's get into this week's video. We are following the life of a family through the beginning and kind of when they get really old. And it's really talk about, besides historical fiction that Ken Follett is well known for, it's a thriller, like a thriller vibes, a little bit horror, betrayal, love. So if you're looking for a little bit like a spicy, it's also included here ambition, the church, like involve the church. But it was really interesting for me to know and to actually read that it was like no putting the church as like a bad. I feel like when people talk about religion, it takes like a point of view, like it takes a side. I'm gonna say bad things about the church, I'm gonna say good things about the church, depends what side you are. And I really appreciate that Ken Follett was extremely objective, but at the same time was really emotional. So we are starting following Tom. So Tom is the person who opens the book, and he is obsessed. He is like this passion about writing. Sorry, building. Why did I say writing? He's so passionate about building churches because he is a master building. So he is a person who builds things, and he learned a lot from his father. So he's obsessed about that, and he decided, you know what, I'm gonna build the most beautiful church ever. And in this situation, in this journey, he did not find a job at all. So his family started getting really hungry, getting frustrated, no job, no money, no food, no place to live. It was his wife Ellen and his two kids, Martha and Alfred, right? So he was like, oh my God, like I cannot this anymore, because he cannot just find anyone who gave him a job. Encounters Philip, and Philip is this guy who has authority in this church, in this small church. And then he met Tom, but Philip, you know what? I don't have anything for you right now. And in this forest, when Tom is on his life trying to find a job, he met Ellen. Now, Ellen is a very interesting character in the story, because some people think this is a witch, some people think that she's just a forest woman who has been living like that for so many years, and she has a son. His name is Jack, but Jack doesn't have a father, or actually it's not in the story, it's not in the picture. So everybody's like, what is his father, right? And Jack is like, yeah, where's my father? Well, then it has been kept this a secret. So now Ellen and Tom fell in love, and they fell in love. And so you will ask, so what happened with with Tom's wife? Well, Tom's wife died in the story, and that's basically when everything started rebelling, because Tom and Ellen decide to, create this family or grow this family, and starting getting this journey. So Tom is like, now I really want to find a job. So they go to this church where Philip is, and somehow mysteriously, that I'm not going to reveal here, this church gets burned completely, so gets destroyed. And Tom is like, oh my God, like now I'm gonna have a job, right? So Philip is like, yes, you're gonna help me to build this church. And that's when also everything is starting rebelling. There is a lot of like betrayal, ambition, because there is also the king who has like this person, William. They don't want to have this church. Like they don't want to allow Philip to build this church, because everyone wants to be the Pope, everyone wants to be the power. So it's like a fight about having the power, being a Pope, not being a Pope. It's a lot. It is a lot, and it's involving the build of this church. So for me, it was like, is how this building, this church, and everything is happen to like no allowing to build this church. So it is a lot. We also find this guy William, who is a raper, who is a psychopath, and he goes and commit rape in one of the characters, Aliena, that she was kind of like a princess, but her father gets like encarceled because they lost the war. So this William rapes Aliena, and Aliena has a love story. One of the characters there is really, really interesting. I really like it. I was like, I cannot stop reading this book. I was just like literally all the time because it's one thing to another, to another, to another. And in some point, I was like, is this church ever gonna get built? It's like one thing and there's another and there's another, but it's a very strong emotional book in my opinion, because it's like no matter what you do, like nothing is gonna be easy, and when you think everything is like everything goes wrong, everything goes wrong, like nothing else will happen, what like keeps you alive? And in this case, it was the faith, it was the hope, and it was that they really want to have a church. And it also talks about the laws of the church, or the rules that are really strong and they can damage the people's life. And it is very interesting. I think, yes, I think it's a masterpiece. I think all these pages are worth, except that I feel the last 150 pages are like really extra. I feel like Ken Follet went too far um, in this story, and I was like, okay, this could end here. Actually, he doesn't have to do all this extra. So that when the story came like a little slow, in my opinion. So for me, this book is 4.5 just because the end. The last 150 pages were for me very boring, and also it's funny because I know this is a series, so I have two more books to read, which I will, um, definitely, because I'm a fan of Ken Follet. But it didn't give me like this hook. I feel like in this other series, The Fall of Giants, um, he finished it, he was like hooking for you to read The Winter of the World. But this one, it doesn't have any really hook. Like it ends and it ends like that, and it was like, okay, that's it, no more. So I don't know how the second book will start, or how, what the character is going to be, because literally in this book we're following the entire life from Jack, from Elena, from William, from Werland, from Philip. So yes, you're gonna really like this book if you're looking for a thriller. And you know what, actually I want to say this, if you're starting reading like chunky books and you're like, I'm so intimidated, I think this could be a great start because it's really, really fast paced for a chunky book. Usually chunky books at the beginning are like so like slow that you were like, oh my god, and it's when so many people tend to like, I cannot read this anymore. But this one is actually the opposite. This one starts really good. It goes very, very, very good until like 700 pages. But at that time, you were like, oh my God, I read 700 pages. So I really recommend this book if you guys started. This is going to be in my heart for so long as all the books we can forget. Pillars of the Earth, I definitely recommend it. And you know what? It brings the conversation about religion. It brings the conversation about church in a very healthy way, where you can talk about, okay, am I agree with this? I'm not agreeing with this rule. Like, can we talk about that more? I feel, especially, my favorite character is Philip, and especially Philip is a very like human, but at the same time he is very strict on his rules by the law of the church, right? So even though he's trying to do something different, or his heart is like, okay, this is what I want to do, his rules of the church is telling him you have to do this. So he goes by the rules of the church, even though it might not be best for the situation that is happening, and it might hurt someone, and it might be really not make any sense for real life. But it has to follow, and I understand because nothing is black and white. And no many grays, but at the end of the day, when you have to make a decision, it's based on what you make a decision based on. So he is based on his faith, based on his rules, based on what he believes is the correct according to the church. I love this book. Also, like a lot about ambition, how envious, jealous people can destroy everything that you have and has no mercy. It is one scene when this William guy commits a rape with someone to someone on this story, which I'm not gonna say who. It was very descriptive. I was like really, even my skin was like, and I was thinking, if this was necessary, but I was like, yes, I think it was necessary. I think everything was necessary here in order for you to feel and have the hate for this horrible character, William, that I wish him to death since I met him, and how someone can be that mean and have the basically what he says here is I have the demons inside of this person, like have so much hate, and even though those people they feel the fear of God when they're like, you curse because you're doing this. You're like, "Ugh," and they need to confess their sins just to don't have this situation. It's a lot. This book is a lot. I don't think it's a young adult. I think this book is more for like adult uh, readers, in my opinion. I really enjoy. I really enjoy because I love historical fiction, and I'm not really afraid of chunky books. And I knew how Ken Follet writes, so I knew it was gonna be like a guarantee. Just the last 150 pages, well, extra. But I gave a 4.5 stars. Hopefully you like it. Hopefully you read this book. Now, I got this question. If you have to read the first time Ken Follett, like you were like, I'm new on Ken Follett's work, should I read this or should I read The Fall of Giants? I will encourage you to read this first, The Pillars of the Earth, so you can have a taste about Ken Follett's style writing and then jump to The Fall of Giants. But definitely this is a 4.5 stars just because of the end. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you like it. I know it took me a little time to film this, but I needed to finish this book and I want to have a really good review about that. I don't like to give reviews for books that I don't read or just read half. I really like to finish and take my time to think about that. And yes, so I want to see you next time with a new bookish adventure.